Well, it's 2 or 3 days before Jon's trip, and currently all of our fishing tackle is in a massive mess. I'm actually tangled up. No, start it again. I've got, oh my God. Right. We're currently preparing all of our tackle. We've got a multitude of different places and different types of fishing we want to do, and that requires a whole lot of different tackle and equipment. And then it's time to fish solid for like a week. Can't wait.
Hello, Carl and Alex fishing viewers. My name is Jon B. I am 21 years old, an avid angler, and an avid videographer. I have my own YouTube channel back in the States. I was born in Ohio, raised in Illinois, now live in Texas. A normal day of Jon B consists of a little bit of editing, a lot of procrastinating, fishing, going on YouTube, watching videos, then getting motivated again and going back to editing. So it's kind of a weird lifestyle, but I love it so much. It's what I do for a living, and I couldn't be any happier. Ever since I was a kid, the main target species that I've always been after is bass. Largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, spotted bass. It's the main fish over in the States. And with that being so, I just tend to gravitate towards bass. They're hard fighting fish. You can catch them in the majority of the waterways around here in the United States, and they're so much fun to catch. What made me want to come to England? Definitely the fish and chips. Probably the biggest reason, yeah. Oh, that and the carp fishing too. That's also another big reason why I wanted to come to England. 2 years ago, when I was still in college, I was about 19 years old, I had met a kid in the dorm across from mine who was big into fishing, but he wasn't a bass angler, unlike every other kid on campus. I kind of was interested in it. I wasn't super stoked on it. I mean, it piqued my interest as like why someone would want to fish for bass. So I picked his brain, learned some of his techniques, and he introduced me to a channel which I had seen on and off on YouTube, that being Carl and Alex Fishing. I found their editing style to be quite unique. I found the fish that they were catching to be quite interesting, diverse, and that piqued my interest. Fast forward 2 years later, I contacted these guys in 2016, slid into the Instagram DMs, about as informal as it can get, and I was like, hey, do you guys want to go fishing?
It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, my phone buzzed, I looked, it said, Fishing the Midwest sent you a message. That's Jon B off of YouTube. Now Alex and I had watched his videos for probably getting on for 2 years, and seeing that message was like, whoa. I think I woke Alex up probably 4 o'clock in the morning or something. Check this out, Jon B wants to go fishing together. And Alex was like, what, he lives in America, that's crazy.
I also didn't know Carl and Alex. I had no idea what these guys were all about. For all I know, they could have been like the 2 biggest weirdos on earth, and I could be walking into an absolute death trap. But turns out they're great guys, great people. I took a flight all the way from Dallas to Heathrow. It's a 3,200 mile trip, and I guess I'm stuck with these two.
Welcome to England.
Feels good to be here, although it's hot, so.
Hottest day of the year.
I'm sweating. I've not stopped sweating since I've hopped on the plane.
Hotter or colder than Texas?
Yeah, it's about as hot as Texas. I smell awful. So bad.
Day 1.
Jon actually arrived later than expected. He was due to get a really early flight, but due to missing one of the connecting flights or something, he actually ended up arriving around midday. That meant we were a little bit too late for the river fishing, which we had planned for his first day in England, but instead thought, you know, it's ridiculously hot, like 30 degrees. Let's go try and catch some carp off the surface.
Unbelievable. That was so awesome. Gone. Yeah. What? Are you kidding me? The things he does to get his B-roll.
Oh, barbed wire to the back. That doesn't feel good at all.
With the fly fishing done and dusted, it was time to turn our attentions to catfish, but not a species of catfish that they have out in America.
It's not bullhead, not channels, not blue cats, not flatheads.
A lot of you haven't. Now I'm talking up, we're not gonna catch a single one. That's how it works.
That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's always gonna happen. We're not gonna catch anything. That's basically what I want to say, is we're not gonna catch absolutely anything. Yeah. We knew full well that if we were gonna catch a catfish, the most likely time to do so would be during the hours of darkness. They are generally nocturnal, so we decided to fish all through the night. I think we fished 7 rods between us and spread those rods out all around the lake with big spam hook baits.
It's a good product promotion for spam. You get sponsored?
Oh mate, I so wish we could get spam. Mate, when we go on the river, we use spam as well.
Really?
Yeah, it's the one.
Spam and eggs, like my favorite breakfast.
Wait, you actually eat it?
Yeah, you guys don't?
No.
I love spam.
I hate.
Couldn't eat it.
Oh,
I
you
hate the
kidding me?
smell. I just hate the smell, the texture and everything.
Hoping to get ourselves a catfish.
Sure enough, within 45 minutes, we had a 50-pound, 45-pound Wells catfish on the end of the rod, which was epic. That was so sick.
High five. Mate, what? Dude, that is incredible. This right here, guys, folks, is a Wells catfish. Just a beautiful fish. Oh, come back here. Come back here. Oh, she's gone.
The day after the Wells catfish experience, we wasted no time. We woke up early, packed all the stuff, got it into the car. Then from there, I think we took a quick shower at Carl and Alex's.
Those are actually a thing?
What?
Telephone booths?
Do you not have them?
No. Well, that's a lot of maggots. Bunch of carp stuff, not a single lure in here. Actually, there's some lures here. Like this. Spinnerbait. Tackle store's vastly different here. I love it. Like, nothing's the same. I don't recognize anything. I'm lost. You guys use that many?
Yeah. You don't use them on the hook, you feed them as
Right,
well.
you feed them, okay.
Yeah, so you feed it regularly, get the fish coming in, and then
Gone out, what did you
put
say?
away.
For the worms? Two
2
denders.
pots of denders, yeah, thanks.
It's cool.
What do you mean it's cool?
It's different.
We've got our bait.
He's like, why is that cool? First UK tackle experience. Money. Although I don't think the owner liked me very much. That's okay then. He didn't seem to be amused by me at all. I think it was the accent that threw him off.
Why is that cool?
And got back on the road where we would be targeting tiny creek, basically ditch redfin perch.
There we go. There we go. There we go. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but these perch are a lot, and I mean a lot bigger than the ones most of you guys up north are probably used to seeing. Wild, absolutely wild. Look at that guy. See if we can get his fins to come up. At first we wanted to hype up the gudgeon to John, but clearly he was too knowledgeable of UK species and that wasn't really going to work. But between us we decided to have a little joke, hype up this gudgeon and make it out to be some terrifying creature that will rip your head off. For those viewers who out in America would probably never heard of a gudgeon before, just for a bit of a joke really. Gudgeon, which are like the really cute little...
Yeah,
like,
which we're gonna hype up in the video to make it seem like there's a big fish in here. Like that's what we're after, right?
Yeah.
Like the perch are cool, like I get that, but
the
gudgeon's the key.
will blow your mind.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a gudgeon before, but it's one of the biggest fish in this river. It's kind of the reason why Carl, Alex, and I are here right now.
Big predators.
Yeah, they eat most of what is in here, right?
They if you're not careful and you get your hands near them, they're gone.
So that's the mission today. We're of course after creek chub, redfin perch, but the gudgeon. Oh, and roach as well. But the gudgeon's the one that, like, that's our target. That's the eye on the prize. Ooh, you good? So I'm a little nervous. I've never seen one of these things in person before. I really don't know much about them. No one really does. They're kind of a mystery, but the one thing that we do know is they are in these small rivers and they are hungry. So I'm pumped to maybe connect with one. We've got some heavy gear. Hopefully it's a mission success. Wow, this is quite a journey.
And yeah, it ended up being quite embarrassing actually. We spent 30 minutes or more, it might have actually been getting on to an hour I think, trying to catch a simple
tiny little gudgeon, and it was a struggle. We somehow managed to catch almost every other species in that stream, bar a gudgeon, until eventually the float bobbed under and we got one. And it was possibly the greatest anticlimax in one of Jon's videos ever. I think he lost all of his subscribers when people realised what he'd been fishing for the last 2 hours. But it was good fun. Jon had got to experience UK small stream micro fishing, and we ticked off a few more species.
We caught, I'd say it was successful that we caught a few fish. It wasn't successful, it took so flipping long to catch a gudgeon. We were
That was so stupid. That was like so dumb of us.
But it was your fault for hyping them up.
No, it was. I take full responsibility.
I wouldn't have hyped up gudgeon.
No. That's the funniest part about today's videos. It was like tentative on the perch, tentative on like the carp, gudgeon, hardest thing to catch, and we were so sure of the fact we were gonna catch one. Anyway, creek mission complete. After we did the rounds at the little ditch/creek for redfin and gudgeon, we got back in the car, drove to a small reservoir where we would be targeting my first ever linear carp.
It would have been all too easy to get Jon a linear carp by, you know, casting 3 rods out and sitting behind them and kind of waiting for one to come along. But knowing Jon is a bass angler, he's used to casting, reeling, walking, finding fish. We thought the best way to catch these fish would actually be to track them down, hunt them down, creep up on them quietly and try and catch them on bread or fishing on the surface. So that's what we intended to do.
It's getting a bit swampy, so we're gonna take the shoes off. Things we do for carp fishing. Things these guys do that I'm now doing. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of, I'm gonna show you how to rig a piece of bread. This bread is Wonder Bread, straight from your local grocery store, or I guess the England grocery store. Wouldn't be local if you're watching this in the US. Anyway, long story short, all you need to do is thread that hook through the crust part of the bread. I personally don't like the crust, the carp do. And then once you do that, you just hook it right back into the crust, just like so, and then just kind of pop that hook out. So you've got this loop, you pull the loop down, boom, you're sauced up and ready to go. And you're one step closer to catching a linear carp. Unfortunately, all I can catch are commons. So maybe this bread will be the money ticket, will be the golden ticket. Oh, I just dropped in the water. Okay, we're gonna get back out there, see if we can't get another one. That would be ideal. Oh, and look at that. That's how you rig bread, folks. Just like that. No, it actually got a little wet, so I'm gonna blame that one on the water. That was a great tutorial.
Oh yeah, there's one going up for it now. Yep.
There we go. We're on.
Wow, that was epic.
Oh, it's one of the nicest ones in here.
In the net.
Yes.
Boom. There's our Lin. This is the fish we've been after. We've chased a ton of fish today. It's incredible to think all the types of fish we've done.
And managed to knock that off the list as well. It took some time, had to sift through, I think, like 2 commons and then finally the Lin. But it was an amazing experience. First time ever catching topwater carp on surface bread. That by far is my favorite way, hands down, to fish for carp. Oh, then after that, we switched back over to the purge gear and went to a big clear reservoir, which is like the biggest lake I think I'd seen throughout the entire trip. And we went after some big redfin. Unfortunately, I didn't land any big ones, caught a lot of small ones. Alex hooked into this monstrous 2-pounder, absolute stud. And that was like an amazing way to end day 2.
Got him.
I guess the thing that really blew my mind the most is like how like quick and swift these dudes move. I mean, right after perch fishing the reservoir, we went back to the house super late, slept for maybe 2 hours. I was dumping footage, they were dumping footage, they were getting all prepped up for the next trip, which was another like, I think like 3 or 4 long hour haul. I mean, like I said, it's just go, go, go with Carl and Alex. A little overwhelming, but you know, my fishing instinct and my drive mode kicked in and I was like all for it. 2 hours of sleep, 1 hour of sleep, no sleep. As long as it's for fishing and filming, I'm 100% down for it.
We had planned our day on the river to coincide with the first day of cloud and sort of overcast weather, knowing full well that if it was bright sun, the fish in the very clear water would be virtually impossible to catch. The cloudy weather made things a lot easier, and the conditions were pretty much bang on to go and try and catch Jon his first ever barbel and possibly his first big chub.
The River Lee was pretty cool. It reminded me of a lot of fisheries back home, only instead of, you know, big barbel and chub, a lot of our small Clearwater creeks are full of smallmouth, suckers, sometimes pike or maybe a little walleye. But this was cool because I was fishing for two fish that I'd never really caught before in an ecosystem that reminded me of something back home. It just kind of blew my mind how shallow these fish were and how like very low-key and stealthy you had to be to just get a chance at catching one. It made me feel like I was actually hunting for these fish, like a proper way to actually get down in the grass, you know, like you're like you're a tiger or something like that, lurking in the reeds, and the sheep being the barbel, and just throwing that piece of spam and watching it tumble down the rocks and just watching it disappear. It's such a cool concept.
However, by around lunchtime, we were all pretty knackered, having had so little sleep the night before, and we felt like we'd ticked off everything that we'd wanted to do on the small river. And it was time to drive 4 hours across the country to the border of Wales, where we were going to be fishing the River Wye, to see if we couldn't get Jon a little bit bigger barbel. Setting off at 4 o'clock in the morning to try and catch a big barbel from the Wye, we were full of confidence. Alex and I had fished the stretch about a week prior, and we'd had 6 takes from barbel, and we'd only fished for about half a day. So we were full of confidence, went back to the spots, cast out, and the hours passed with absolutely nothing.
Oh, left hand rod, left hand rod, left hand rod, left hand rod. You suck. You suck.
That was frustrating, but River Lee was awesome, and it really kind of made me realize that I can't take a good bite for granted here in the UK. I mean, it can be on, and when it's on, and when it's off, it is very much off. So, I mean, we basically ditched the River Wye early. I think our plan was to stay there quite late and targeting barbel, but it just wasn't looking optimistic. So after not getting any bites at the River Wye, we just cut our losses. We packed everything up, drove 4 hours back to where Carl and Alex go to work, where they make a living filming for Nash Tackle, and we arrived at the infamous Church Lake.
On our way back, I just had to pull over. I was super tired and I needed a drink, and what followed was a little bit unexpected. Yeah, just stopped off to get a Red Bull because I was falling asleep at the wheel after driving for hours and hours. Spotted some carp.
Mate, you lot aren't free here.
Why is there no signs or anything?
Got it. You got it. Big one. Oh God, he's jumping.
Yeah, we got it.
We'll probably leave now.
You're gonna get me in a bit of trouble, but it wasn't my fault. Goodbye.
We're out. This is it. Fish is back in the water, swimming, and we're back on the road.
So I'm sure a lot of you Carl and Alex fans know what Church Lake is and are very familiar with Church Lake. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was just a little pond. But after talking with Carl and Alex for quite some time, I realized how special this place was and how many people would probably kill to fish a body of water like this. You know, I knew there were big carp in here, but I didn't know that there were like this many big carp in here. And this made me realize that, you know, reaching my goal of catching a gluttonous carpzilla, like a monstrous fish, could be in my grasp. You know, it could be possible here. I mean, I was looking at all these pictures of the wall in the office, and I was like, whoa, this is legit. I mean, these are like big fish, and I'm trying to compare these to bass and put it in perspective, especially for my viewers out there who don't necessarily fish for carp. And I mean, this is the same thing if I were to go into a tackle store to see a bunch of 10, 15 pound largemouth bass. I mean, this is unreal. It's pretty crazy.
For Church Lake, we used good old simple hair rigs with Pepper Army hook baits, a few handfuls of pellet and boilie over the top of those rods. And John got the hang of casting, feeling the lead down, checking whether it was weedy or silty or clay on the bottom. And by early evening, we had all the rods set, ready for the night ahead.
I guess what intrigued me the most about carp fishing is how detail oriented it is. With bass fishing, you just throw a jig on with a craw and you pitch it out there. And a lot of what bass fishing is all about is like, you know, spot oriented. You could throw a good looking jig, but you can also throw a bad looking jig into a spot, and as long as it's the right spot in the right location, the right brush pile or lay down or grass patch, you're going to get bit. But with carp, presentation is huge. You have to make sure everything looks nice, everything is easy for that fish to eat. The amount of gear and time that is spent within rigging and prepping for these massive carp blows my mind.
With our rods positioned for the night, we explained to John that if over the next 2 days we managed to get a take or two, get a fish or two, that would be a really, really good result. What we didn't expect was 20 minutes later to hear John screaming from down the bank going, "Guys, I'm in, I've got a fish."
This is rad. This is literally what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to the UK to catch a giant carp. Oh wow, it's big.
Yes, it's in.
See, the other crazy thing about these fish, I didn't realize how powerful they were too. In the past, I know this is going to piss a lot of you guys, especially on Carl and Alex's channel, hearing this. But in the past, the majority of the carp that I've had on the end of my line have been hooked either in the back, the nose, the tail, the fin, just on accident. It happens. There's lots of carp in the state, and they like to run through your line on accident. And of course, I've known how powerful they are. But when you really get them on like a long spinning rod with light line and a small hook, that, in my opinion, is when you realize their sheer potential and their power limit. You know, their force and the tail kicks and what these fish are all about. They're like giant bulls. They're like giant cows in the water. And when you hook into one, they have no mercy. You know, they will wreck you. They will break your line. They will ruin knots. They will put you in the grass and make you cry.
Like a boss, John. Like a boss. Right on cue too. Can you believe that?
There's something very special about seeing someone try a new type of fishing for the first time, learning the processes, improving the skills, and then going on and catching, you know, a personal best. What I didn't realise is that this session was to produce 2 personal bests for John, and going on from that, a personal best for myself as well. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I've been fishing in the UK for carp now for probably 10 years, and for the capture of my personal best to coincide with that of John's in that same hour or so time period, you couldn't make it up. You literally couldn't. Ending our trip with 3 giant carp was absolutely perfect. We'd had a full-on week of fishing and filming, and I think all 3 of us had enjoyed every minute of it.
Those carp are incredible, and to be truthful, I'm guilty of being prejudiced towards these fish. I didn't really think much of these fish, to be truthful, especially being that I'm a bass angler and that I fish mainly for bass. So actually holding the 34-pound carp in my hands added a completely different perspective to this. You know, they're beautiful fish, they're powerful fish. You can say whatever you want about these things, but you can't deny that they are strong, they are powerful, they are pretty cunning, and that they're unique in their own little way. You know, carp or carp. There's not much else like it out there.
Sitting in the lodge that evening, reflecting on what had been a pretty enjoyable week of fishing, we started to discuss and explore the possibilities of another cross-continent fishing trip with Jon.
This time though, it's probably gonna have to be on my turf. You know, it was fun, guys, getting to know your homeland and fish for your fish, but I think it's time you guys come to the States. We'll make an actual trip out of it.
Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep fishing, never stop. What was the one that you thought of?
Keep fishing, never catch gudgeon.
Yeah, keep fishing, never catch gudgeon. I will never forget this moment. Never ever am I gonna ever forget this moment today.